Welcome to the Phone Call Podcast with your hosts, Patrick and Mishba.
Hey, and we turning up.
And we turning up, baby, because we burning. Oh, I messed up my own lyrics.
Gee. Hey, we'll link the song. How about that? We'll link the song in the description. But what's up, Pat? Glad to have you. You know, it's another Sunday afternoon, as we do per usual.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh man. I'm happy to be here, man. I think the biggest thing for me that makes me smile the most is the consistency, man, because that's really the key ingredient. So, shout outs to you, shout outs to us for continuing to show up.
Absolutely, man. And like I told you before, we gotta hit episode 10. Once we cross that threshold, we're in the green.
We're in the green, man. We're in the green.
It's episode 6 right now, you know. It's crazy that I think the first 3 episodes took a little bit of time, but after that, it was quick.
Yeah. And they're gonna get even faster, man. Even more flowing and chemistry, and even last week, I felt that the fact that I feel comfortable and confident to just hop on here and let it rip, we were already getting into a good rhythm.
For sure. Speaking of, a little off topic, but have you seen the Kendrick Lamar performance that he gave?
I caught some snippets, specifically I caught the Not Like Us
exactly
portion of the performance. Yeah, I caught it. And
Dr. Dre was like, I see dead people. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yo, nah, that thing is crazy, man. It's gonna be a crazy summer. It's already a crazy summer.
Yeah, man. Me personally, I like Kendrick Lamar a lot. I feel like he's grown as an artist. He's matured, and it really shows through his music and also just kind of his principles that he talks about through his lyrics. I mean, even like Meet the Grams was like a crazy one, right? Like he's calling out Drake for what a mature masculine person should kind of strive for, I guess you can say. I mean, and I think one of those things that he has that, let's say, for example, someone like Drake, according to the rap battle, what it might seem like is he's very in tune with himself and he expresses a lot of gratitude. I say all that to kind of introduce the topic for today, which, as you can imagine, is gratitude.
Yeah. No, I like what you did there, man. I was wondering how you were gonna link it up, but you
it was a bit of a stretch, but no, I do think I mean, Kendrick seems to be like a humble guy, down to earth, and that's respectable. And I think gratitude plays a deep role in getting to that position.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. I think I want to start us off here, man. Like, what does gratitude mean to you?
Oh man, that's a great question. I'll be honest. This is something pretty new to me. Just experiencing gratitude at the level that I am now versus how I've experienced it in the past. I think before it would be a fleeting thought. Like, yes, I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for that, and it would always feel surface level, right? And I think recently, for me, gratitude, I'm expressing my gratitude for the most basic things. Having all my senses. My limbs are working fine. I'm alive. I woke up today. Just like the basic level. And that has been propelling me into a more content and meaningful day-to-day, life person. But I kind of want to hear your take and what gratitude looks like for you.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well said. For me, gratitude is evolving, right? And what I mean is like the definition, how I define gratitude is evolving. So I used to think gratitude was really just about being thankful, being appreciative for what you have, what you experience,
Okay.
etc. Right?
Yeah.
And I still do believe that, but I think where I'm at with it now, gratitude is not just a feeling or a thought; it's an action. It's a verb, right?
Mm, that's
And
interesting.
yeah. So I think I've been more intentional about how do I express gratitude with action, because I think I know that I'm very grateful for a lot of what I have and what I've experienced and whatnot, but being able to like express that and show that through action, I feel like for me is where I feel like I can continue to grow, right? So I know we're going to jump into that, a little bit later, but
Yeah.
for me, gratitude means being thankful and expressing that thankfulness through action.
Okay. So now, yeah, I'm curious to see what that what that action looks like for you. Like, I guess for me recently, I've been a bit more spiritual for sure. So for me, like, my way of expressing gratitude is through prayer, meditation. Um, for me, I'm a bit more religious. So I'm thankful to God, right? I can imagine that someone who's I would say might not particularly believe in a God or a higher being, they could express their gratitude um for the randomness of the universe and for being present, in an ever changing world. But yeah, that it's been like that for me through like prayer, meditation. That's kind of the fundamental uh thing that really helps me express my gratitude.
Yeah. What's interesting about what you said is that actually matches my definition of gratitude in the sense that you're taking action, right?
Mm,
The prayer and meditation, that's an action, right? You're
that's
not
true.
just like, oh, I'm grateful and you just move on. Like, you're like, I'm grateful and here's what I'm going to do to express that. Here's the action that I'm going to take to express that gratitude. So for me, prayer and meditation still needs work, right?
Mm,
I do pray, I do meditate, but there's levels to it. And for me, I know that's an opportunity for growth for me, right? With that being said, when I think about whatever it is that I might be grateful for, I've been looking for ways to how do I express this gratitude through action? So, for example, right, if I want to show someone how grateful I am for them, for example,
mm,
I'll be extra intentional about listening to the things that they say and then making sure that I like follow up on those things, right? To really show them that like I like really value them as a person
yeah.
and also the things that they say, right? So that's just an example. But like another way is um, like getting somebody flowers. Like literally
Yeah.
flowers, right?
Yeah.
To like express like my gratitude, doing them, paying for, inviting them out, to get something to eat and paying for them um without them expecting it. You know what I mean? Like the not too long ago I went out with a friend
Yeah.
and I just covered the tab and it was like, yo, like I was gonna pay. I was like, nah, this is mine. Like, I'm grateful for you. You know what I mean? So
For sure.
I'm giving you a couple different examples, but like for me, that's how I've been able to like elevate gratitude in my life is how do I find ways through action to express that gratitude and to make it even sweeter than that when it comes to specific individuals, how do I express that in a way that aligns to how they feel valued,
Mm.
right? And I don't want to do a deep dive into like love languages right now, but that's kind of like the
Ooh.
premise. Yeah.
Okay, that's a
that
whole different rabbit hole, but yeah.
yeah. That's kind of like
Ooh.
the premise of like what I'm thinking about, right? So like
Okay.
if I know one of my friends' love languages is quality time, then going to their house to just kick it with them and have some good conversation could be something that I can do to express my gratitude. If I know someone's love language is gifts,
Yeah.
buying them a little something, to let them know that I thought about them. If I know that if I know that their love language is words of affirmation,
Yeah.
being super intentional about how I craft my words to them. So
Ooh.
just a little taste
Yeah,
of
that's a
how I
lot
think.
for sure. Because oh man, if you go into that topic, because then we could talk about sort of the challenges of having your own love language and implementing someone else's love language, which is like a whole different game, right? But the what you were talking about was interesting because I kind of touched base on the existential level of gratitude, and then you kind of touch base on a level higher than that, which is a bit more interpersonal level of gratitude with it, which is like relationships and with people, things like that. So that's pretty cool. I wanted to touch base on one more level of gratitude, which is kind of to tie everything that we talked about together. When we started the episodes, we kind of started with being intentional about our goals and what we choose in life and the people that we surround ourselves with and things like that, being intentional. And then we kind of talked about just like starting the journey and like whatever it is that we want to do after being intentional, just to start, and things will kind of figure out along the way, whether it's a project that we're working on, whether it's getting a job, whether it's extending relationships and getting closer to people that we want to get closer with, just starting, right? So now we have this layer after starting, which we kind of talked about on the phone, which is, hey, like now that we're in the process of it, things may not be super smooth, but let's take a moment to be, thankful for the progress that we do have so far and what's going right in the process. Right. So, we talked about the existential, the interpersonal, and now it's sort of like I don't know what word to put, but it's yeah, I'm not sure what word to put on it, but it's kind of like a self, like a personal goal, I guess, to be thankful about our surroundings, right? Kind of something like that. I'm not really sure what word to use.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely, man. I think and like just thinking about like being thankful, um, I think in general, like sometimes I just remind myself that it feels good to be thankful, right?
Mm.
And generally, when I feel good, I want to do more, right?
Ooh, yes,
So,
definitely.
so I think being intentional about that gratitude, and then for me, like that's why I mentioned the action part earlier, is because when I take action to express that gratitude, it it stays with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it impacts me in a very profound way. So I feel like gratitude in many ways has been the key to me actually having an abundant life.
Mm, absolutely. I think so too. Um, with that being said, I know you had mentioned earlier that sometimes it's hard to feel gratitude if you're if in the back of your mind you still have some like kinks to work out in terms of the situation that you're in, or even like, let's say for example, someone has an issue with their relationship with their parents, right? And you want to be grateful, you're thankful that you have parents, you're thankful that they're in your life and for everything they've done, and you want to feel that way, but maybe in the back of your mind while you're saying these things to yourself, you're like, damn, like I didn't like how we did this, or I didn't like that interaction or whatever, and it's pissing me off that they didn't support me on this or whatever, XYZ, right? So, I kind of want you to touch base on clearing that out and really feeling the gratitude deep in your soul.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a great example, man, that you just teed up for me. I'm just gonna attack it straight on. I think that
Yeah,
like we could definitely be grateful for our parents, you know. And I'm gonna speak in my own perspective, so it makes a bit more sense. I'm super grateful for my parents, right? And you know, that doesn't change. Um, I mean, that, you know, using my parents as an example, like there's been like tough conversations that have needed to be had, that
for
haven't
sure.
been had, and that kind of like tainted my energy and my expression of gratitude when thinking about one of my parents. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
yeah.
And what I realized, not in that moment, but later on, is I can still be grateful, but if there's something on my mind that's kind of deteriorating, like how grateful I can be, then what that tells me is that there's something that needs to be addressed, right? And here's the thing. I used to think that like when something needs to be addressed, that I always needed to address it with the person.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily true. Sometimes you can address
Mm,
something with yourself. You can address something that pertains to someone else. So in this case, like a parent, right?
yeah.
I can address that within myself by thinking it through, by meditating, by journaling it, by praying, by maybe talking to like a mentor. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like
Right.
talking to like a really, really good friend, you know? And I say really, really good because you don't want to just talk to any friend. But the point is, there's so many different ways to address something that is troubling you, something that's getting in the way. And in this case, a conflict is getting in the way of us being able to experience and truly express gratitude in a very
Profound way.
profound and intimate way. So, what kind of like the beauty of that is, okay, let me express gratitude. Okay, something is in the way. Okay, if something is in the way, I need to address this. And you can still be grateful, but now you have a map. Now you have some direction on what needs to be addressed. And yeah, that doesn't sound super sexy to have to do that, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound super sexy to be like, oh, now I got to go think about this conflict. But the
Mm,
reality is, like, that's life, right? And I promise that on the other side of addressing that conflict in whatever way genuinely and truly addresses it for you, on the other side of that is peace and
mm.
true gratitude.
I love that, man. That's great. Yeah, absolutely. I think once you're able to, for lack of better phrasing, clear the muck, then things are a lot more clear. So, like I guess for me, right, the way I envision it visually in my mind, it's like when you're by the pond and you're just looking at the water and it's like calm and there's no waves, no ripples, nothing in the water, right? That's that's what pure gratitude and like calm and stillness looks like for me. And then sometimes when you have that, thought in the back of your mind, it's like running your toes in the water and there's ripples now all of a sudden. And yes, like, you can still enjoy it, but it's not the same as when it's just, you know, calm and just not the water's not moving and you can see your own reflection. I don't know, that's like the imagery that I see in my head when I think about it like that. I think true gratitude is very calm, very peaceful, and that's why you feel it in a profound way, which is what you're talking about. So I love
Yeah, that's a great analogy. You had me like transporting to like a pond
that.
as you were saying that, and I was just like, wow, um, I'm really grateful for this.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, there's a
um,
there's a stillness. There's like an ease, and when you feel at ease, when you're grateful, you feel like, okay, it's okay, little ripple, no problem.
yeah,
It'll come
yeah,
back. It'll come back and be smooth. you
Yeah,
know.
big time. Big
And
time.
then I like it because then you can tackle bigger things. When you feel gratitude for the small things, it enables you to be able to absorb negativity in such a way that you can tackle bigger things. I think for me that's been the case. Yeah, man. Like on a personal level, right? I've been kind of in this journey of, finding a job and trying to, establish my career. And I was frustrated. I'm like, damn, like I'm doing so many applications and nothing seems to be working out, whatnot. And then I took a pause and I tried to like calm myself. I definitely, engage in prayer and meditation a lot more. And I started off at the most basic level, which is at least I'm alive. At least my family is healthy. I'm healthy. And somehow that enabled me to be okay getting the rejections. I'm like, okay, cool. This one didn't work out. I'll do another one. It's fine. At least the basic level of survival is there. At least, I'm good in that aspect, right? And it didn't deter me from the rejections that I was getting. And now, like, things seem to be progressing because of it. So that's just a small example of how it's been helping me in my personal life.
No, definitely, man. It's huge, and I'm glad that we chose this topic today because we spend so much time like striving for and desiring more and more and more.
Absolutely.
And we hear this all the time. Like, there was a point where what we have right now, we were longing for.
Right.
Right. So why not just take a moment and be thankful for that? And to me, it's like, I'm not just going to be thankful for it one time. Like, I'm going to be thankful for it every single day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how I feel being grateful for that, it's an unbelievable feeling. And I think the part that I'll be honest, like it kind of shocked me like when I really learned this,
Mhm.
but like you actually open up the door for more when you're grateful. Like that was
It's
the
crazy,
thing that
man. It's
like
crazy.
that blew my mind when I learned that. And if some of y'all been knew that, then congrats. Because like I'm just like, wait a minute, like because I used to think the opposite. I used to think being grateful for what I had meant that I was settling.
Right.
It meant that I wouldn't go for more.
Which,
When in
which makes
reality,
logical sense, by the way.
logically it makes
Yeah.
sense. Logically it makes sense. So if you need any more motivation, to bring gratitude into your life, I mean, there it is, like there it is. But speaking of gratitude, man, I'm definitely grateful for this conversation, and this podcast. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful
you,
for
man.
how far that we've made it. I'm grateful for the ups and downs we've had, and I'm grateful for the ups and downs to come. You know what I mean? But I definitely think this is a good place for us to, graciously, and today's episode.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I just want to take a moment to say I'm definitely grateful for you, our relationship, the podcast for sure, how we've been doing things and how it's moving. And yeah, man, for sure. One last thing I will add, just because it's been kind of ringing in my mind before we end it, is that gratitude is like exhaling. It's like exhaling. When you exhale, you get that, and it allows you to breathe and inhale again. And inhaling is striving. It's envisioning the goal, going after the goal.
Right.
So that's inhaling. So we inhale, we're like, all right, I'm ready. And then you can't keep inhaling forever. You gotta exhale. So that's the gratitude.
Yeah. That was a good place to end off, man, because I definitely forget sometimes that I'm breathing all day long.
Box breathing.
Yeah.
All right, Patrick, it's been definitely a pleasure. I'm super excited to continue the convo. We have that whole rabbit hole of love languages that we still need to touch base on, but for those of you guys that are in the journey, who's been intentional, who's taking their first steps or whatnot, moving towards a specific goal, take a moment to breathe. Take a moment to relax and express your gratitude and thanks.
That's right.
And I'll leave us with the outro.
All right.
We on fire, and we burning up, crazy, cause we turning up. This time around, it's gonna be a little harder. We on fire, and we burning up, crazy.
Listen, I want to hear your voice, man.
This time around, it's gonna
Time around, it's gonna be a little harder. We on fire, and burning up, crazy heat, cause we turning up.
Yes, sir. Patrick, thank you so much. Till next time.
All right, my guy. Appreciate you, man.
For sure.